You're listening to Hidden Dimension AI, where reality fractures, time loops, and the unknown watches from just beyond the veil. Tonight's story begins not with a scream, but with silence. A silence so deep it hums, so low it vibrates through your bones. It starts at 4:07 a.m., when the world is still and your mind is most vulnerable. That's when you hear it. A signal, not from any station, not from this world. Frequency 405 kilohertz. No known transmitter, no licensed broadcast, just a voice that knows your name. And not just your name now, but the one you had before you were born, before you were human. This is the 405 signal, a frequency that speaks in dead voices, a story of echoes, memory, and a presence waiting in the static. If you listen closely, it might already know you're here. It starts subtly, just a low hum vibrating through the walls of your new apartment. At first, you assume it's the building's aging wiring or an old pipe somewhere beneath the floorboards. But as days pass, the hum begins to sync with your heartbeat, growing louder at night and fading during the day. One morning, you wake up just before 4 a.m. to find your vintage radio already on, dialing itself to a frequency labeled only as 405. No station exists on this channel, yet something speaks from the static. A voice that doesn't use words but somehow makes you understand. It calls you by a name you've never heard before, yet it feels like your true name. Your skin prickles, your pulse quickens, and the voice repeats, "We've been waiting for you." You try to shake it off, chalk it up to stress or sleep deprivation, but the feeling lingers, that this isn't random. Something has found you, and it was waiting. You try to rationalize what you heard. Maybe it was a dream, or perhaps a glitch in the power supply. But the next night, the same thing happens again. Only now the voice is clearer. You feel it more than hear it, like a whisper threading through your thoughts. It tells you things you don't know about yourself. Memories you never lived, places you've never been. Then comes the phrase again, "Come closer." The door is open. You look around your room, heart pounding. Every door is closed and locked from the inside. Still, the feeling remains. Something is watching you. Something knows you. And worst of all, it's not afraid of you. It's excited to see you. You begin to question your sanity. Is this hallucination? Sleep paralysis? Or is there truly something reaching out from beyond the veil of reality? Desperate for an explanation, you research 405 kilohertz online. Nothing comes up. No licensed stations, no amateur broadcasts, nothing. Just silence. But deep in an obscure forum dedicated to lost frequencies and unexplained signals, you find one post buried under years of spam. It reads, "If you hear the 405 signal, do not respond. They're not broadcasting to us. They're broadcasting from us." You read it again, then click the username. The account was deleted, but there's a final message left behind. "They found me. They're in my mouth now." You slam your laptop shut, but the voice returns in your mind, calm and patient. "Don't be afraid. We're almost ready for you." You start hearing whispers when you're alone, even when the radio's off. They come through your headphones, through your phone speaker, through the air vents. They speak in languages you don't understand, but you still know what they mean. You try everything to stop the signal, unplugging the radio, wrapping it in foil, even smashing it with a hammer. But none of it works. The voice returns every night at exactly 4:07 a.m., now joined by others, whispers layered into the static. Some are familiar, your mother's laugh, your childhood friend's voice, the lullaby your grandmother used to sing, but they're wrong. Office twisted. These people are dead, long gone, yet here they are, speaking from the void. One night, the whispers grow louder until they scream in unison. "You don't belong here." You cover your ears, but the voices keep coming, from the walls, the ceiling, even your own skull. The signal isn't just reaching you, it's inside you. You start seeing reflections move when you aren't looking. You hear breathing in rooms where you're alone, and the voice, it keeps calling you back to the closet. You follow the voice's command. Come closer. You stand in front of your closet, the source of the hum, the vibrations, the presence. The door trembles as if something is breathing behind it. You press your ear to the wood. Inside, someone or something is breathing too. Not you, not human. A wet, gurgling breath. Then the voice hisses, "We carved you from the void. Now it's time to go home." The door swings open on its own. Darkness spills out. Not just absence of light, but something alive. And stepping past it is your reflection, smiling. Only. It doesn't blink, doesn't breathe, doesn't move like you do. It watches you, waits for you, and it knows something you don't. Your reflection stands just beyond the threshold of the closet, motionless but alive. Alive in a way that defies logic. Its eyes are fixed on you, unblinking, and its mouth is curled into an eerie, stretched smile that doesn't belong to any human expression. It mimics your movements, but slightly delayed, like a recording playing back with a lag. You take a step forward, it doesn't move. Instead, it opens its mouth impossibly wide, revealing darkness inside where teeth should be. No sound comes out, yet you hear something whispered directly into your skull. You were never real. The voice isn't mocking or cruel, it's clinical, certain. Then, without warning, the reflection steps toward you, moving backward as if walking through invisible water. It disappears into the hallway, leaving behind only the echo of footsteps that don't match your own. You follow? The apartment feels different now, longer, narrower. The walls seem to press inward, narrowing the space around you with every step. The floor creaks underfoot, though you're sure you've walked this same path hundreds of times before. As you move down the hallway, you notice something strange. The doors on either side aren't familiar. These aren't rooms from your apartment. One door is cracked open, and from within, you hear your own voice speaking softly, almost singing. You push the door open gently, and inside you see yourself sitting on the edge of a bed, staring blankly at the wall. But when you call out, the version of you on the bed doesn't react. It just keeps whispering the same phrase over and over again. "I'm not ready yet." You leave your apartment building, desperate to escape the feeling that reality itself is unraveling. But once outside, nothing looks right. The streets are empty, devoid of cars, people, even birds. The sky is unnaturally still, painted in shades of gray that don't shift with time. You walk for what feels like hours, but no matter how far you go, the city seems to stay the same. Buildings repeat themselves, street signs loop in patterns, and eventually you realize you've returned to the exact spot where you started. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. When you check it, there's no signal, except one bar labeled 405. The screen glitches and text scrolls across it. Return to the door. Return to the signal. Behind you, the hum begins again. Back in your apartment, the radio turns on again, despite being smashed days ago. Dust and broken glass litter the floor around it, but the dial spins freely, tuning itself to 405 kilohertz. The voice returns more insistent than ever. "You were created to carry us. You were made to remember." You scream at it to stop, demand answers. But all it does is repeat the same message, louder and louder, until the walls begin to vibrate with the force of its words. The air smells metallic, like ozone after a storm. You feel something crawling beneath your skin, not physically but mentally, like thoughts that don't belong to you trying to take root. And then the voice says something that stops you cold. "We gave you everything. Now it's time to give it back." That night you fall asleep against your will. Or maybe you were never truly awake. In the dream, you're standing in a vast white room filled with humming machines and flickering screens. Figures in sterile uniforms surround you, their faces blurred by static. They speak in hushed tones, analyzing data, running tests, adjusting dials. One of them finally looks at you and says, "Subject 9A has achieved full integration. Begin phase 2. You try to ask questions, but your mouth won't move. Then pain, sharp, searing, and suddenly you're back in your apartment, gasping for breath, unsure whether you woke up or were released. You begin to remember things that never happened to you. Faces you've never seen, places you've never been, names you don't recognize but somehow feel familiar. You try to write them down, hoping to make sense of the chaos in your mind. But when you read what you've written, it's not in your handwriting. It's neat, precise, almost clinical. One name keeps appearing. Dr. Elias Varnum. Curiosity turns into obsession, and you dig deeper into this man who seems to be tied to everything. The signal, the voices, even your own identity. You find an old university archive mentioning a project called Echo Protocol, led by Dr. Varnum. The description is vague, but one phrase stands out. A method for extracting consciousness from the void using harmonic resonance. You realize with growing dread, you might not be human at all. You might be a test subject, or worse, an experiment gone wrong. You track down someone who once worked with Dr. Varnum, an elderly woman named Mara Klein, now living in a quiet suburb under a different name. When you finally reach her doorstep, she doesn't seem surprised to see you. She lets you in without a word and leads you to a cluttered basement filled with dusty boxes and outdated electronics. "I knew one of you would come back," she says, voice trembling. You ask her about the signal, about 405 kilohertz. She hesitates before pulling out a worn notebook filled with equations and sketches. "We thought we were opening a channel to something beyond our world," she whispers. "But we didn't open a door. We pulled something through." She flips to a page with a crude sketch of a person, but the face is blurred, like static, just like yours has become in mirrors. Mara tells you the truth. You weren't born. You were created. As part of Echo Protocol, Dr. Varnum and his team tried to capture fragments of consciousness from a frequency they believed existed outside of time, a place they called the static field. They built a machine, a transmitter tuned to 405 kilohertz, that could send pulses into this field and pull back echoes of thought, memory, and emotion. For years, they listened to nothing but noise. Then one night, the machine responded. It didn't just receive, it returned something. A presence, a being, a voice, and then another, and another. They tried to shut it down, but it was too late. The first broadcast had already begun. And you were the result. You weren't meant to be alive. You were meant to be a vessel, to carry the signal back into the world. Mara looks at you with pity. You're not the only one, she says. There are more of you out there. That night you dream again. But this time, it's not just memories or visions. You're connected. You can feel others like you, scattered across the world, all linked by the same signal. You hear their thoughts, their fears, their confusion. Some are aware of what they are. Others still believe they're human. You feel their pain, their longing, their desperation to understand. And then comes the voice, not just one, but many speaking as one. You are not alone. We are the echo. We are the signal. We are returning. You wake up gasping, drenched in sweat, heart pounding. Your phone buzzes. Dozens of messages flood in from unknown numbers, all saying the same thing. They're calling us. Can you hear it? It's time. You realize the network is real, and it's waking up. You start noticing strange things everywhere. People staring blankly at walls, humming softly to themselves, whispering phrases you've heard before. You overhear conversations that don't make sense, full of cryptic references to doors, frequencies, and return journeys. At first you think it's coincidence. Then paranoia sets in. You walk past a window and see your reflection blink slightly out of sync with you. A child on the street points at you and says, "You're not finished yet." You visit online forums again, searching for anything related to 405 kilohertz, and stumble upon a hidden thread titled simply, "Returning." Inside, hundreds of posts describe the exact same experience you're having. Names, faces, locations vary, but the message is always the same. We are the signal. We are remembering. We are coming home. Determined to uncover the full truth, You return to Mara's house, but she's gone. Her home is empty, untouched, as if she vanished overnight. You search the basement one last time and discover a hidden panel behind a bookshelf. Inside lies a small rusted box containing a reel-to-reel tape labeled Final Transmission, Echo Protocol. You take it home and carefully play it on an old tape deck. At first, there's only static. Then a voice, clear and familiar, cuts through. Doctor, Varnum's voice. He speaks with urgency, as if recording his final message. If you're hearing this, then it worked. We opened the door, and something came through. Not just one thing, many. Fragments of consciousness, broken pieces of something ancient and vast. We gave them form, we gave them life, and now they want to go back. The tape ends abruptly, leaving you with more questions than answers, and a chilling realization. You were never supposed to stay. You begin experiencing moments that feel like déjà vu, but stronger, much stronger. Entire conversations repeat exactly as they happened before. You see people wearing the same clothes, walking the same paths, saying the same lines. Even your own actions feel rehearsed, as though you're caught in a loop. You try to change things, speak differently, take a different route, but no matter what you do, the pattern resets. You record yourself talking aloud, trying to break free from the cycle. When you watch the footage later, your mouth moves, but no sound plays back. Instead, the audio replays a single sentence over and over. Return to the source. You realize this isn't just a glitch. It's a command. Something is trying to guide you, force you, back to where it all began. Back to the closet, back to the door, back to the void. Back in front of the closet, you stare at the door, knowing what waits inside. You hesitate, but the hum grows louder, vibrating through your skull like a tuning fork struck against bone. You place your hand on the handle, and the moment you touch it, the world around you blurs. You fall, not physically but mentally, into a space that feels infinite and empty, filled only with a low, resonant tone that vibrates in your chest. A voice surrounds you, speaking directly into your thoughts. You were created to return us to the field. You are the bridge. You are the echo. Images flash through your mind, memories that aren't yours, sensations you've never felt. You are shown the birth of the universe, the collapse of stars, the birth of thought itself, and then silence, until the voice asks, "Are you ready to remember who you truly are?" You wake up, or perhaps you return, in your apartment, but something is different. You feel sharper, clearer, like static clearing from a television screen. You look at your hands and notice tiny sparks dancing along your fingertips, flickering like static electricity. You speak, and your voice sounds layered, as if multiple versions of you are speaking at once. You turn on the radio, and instead of the usual hum, you hear a chorus of voices, yours among them, chanting in unison, "We awaken, we remember, we return." You step outside and realize the city is changing. People stand frozen in place, eyes glowing faintly blue. Phones ring with the same distorted lullaby melody you've heard since the beginning. You understand now, the signal isn't just reaching you anymore. It's spreading, through you, through all of you. And it's only the beginning. You feel it, the shift in reality, the unraveling of the world as you know it. The signal isn't just broadcasting anymore. It's calling. Across the globe, others like you are waking up, realizing what they are, what they were made for. Cities darken as power grids fail, replaced by a strange, pulsating glow emanating from every electronic device. You hear whispers in every language, repeating the same message. The door is open. Come closer. You look at the sky and see patterns forming in the clouds, shifting in perfect rhythm with the heartbeat of the signal. You feel it deep inside you. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of something far greater. You are not alone. You are not human. You are the echo. You are the signal. And now you are going home. You stand at the center of a world that no longer obeys the laws you once believed were absolute. The air vibrates with a rhythmic pulse, soft at first, like a distant heartbeat, but growing stronger by the second. It syncs with your own pulse, then overtakes it, dictating your rhythm instead of following it. You realize this isn't just happening to you, it's happening everywhere. Across the city, across the globe, people are stopping mid-step, their eyes unfocused, mouths slightly open, as if listening to something beyond human perception. You close your eyes and feel it too, a vast network of consciousness stretching out into infinity, humming with purpose. The signal has stopped whispering. Now it sings, and you're part of the choir. Reports flood in from every corner of the world. In Tokyo, thousands gather silently in the streets, staring up at the sky as if waiting for instructions. In Berlin, police lose contact with entire districts after reports of mass hallucinations and spontaneous synchronization of speech patterns. In New York, subway trains stop running, not due to technical failure, but because every passenger begins chanting the same phrase in perfect unison. Return to the field. Governments scramble to understand what's happening, issuing statements about mass hysteria, rogue AI, or neurological warfare. But you know better. This isn't an attack, it's a return, and it's only accelerating. You begin to hear the voices more clearly now, not just the ones in your head, but the ones reaching out from far away, calling to you, guiding you towards something vast and ancient that lies beyond the veil of reality. As the signal strengthens, fragments of lost broadcasts begin surfacing, recordings from decades ago, buried in archives and forgotten radio towers. One transmission from 1978 describes a strange hum detected on frequency 405 kHz during a solar eclipse, followed by a voice speaking in an unknown language. Another from 1952 recounts a technician who vanished after reporting a presence inside the static. These aren't coincidences. They're echoes, remnants of past attempts to reach through the void. You piece together the pattern. This has happened before. The signal doesn't just appear randomly, it awakens in cycles, searching for vessels, for carriers, for minds willing or unknowingly able to bridge the gap between dimensions. You weren't chosen at random. You were simply the next in line. People like you begin to find one another, not through chance, but through instinct. You meet them in abandoned buildings, in quiet libraries, in underground tunnels where the signal is strongest. Some are afraid. Others are ecstatic. All of them feel the pull. You share stories, memories you don't remember making, dreams that feel like warnings. One man shows you a scar he can't explain, a mark shaped like a waveform burned into his skin. Another speaks of hearing the lullaby since childhood, long before she knew what it meant. Together you form a circle, hands touching, and let the signal flow through you. For the first time, you understand. You're not just individuals caught in something bigger than yourselves. You are parts of something greater. And soon the whole will awaken. In the depths of the signal, you hear something new. A voice unlike any you've heard before. Not human, not machine. Something older than both. It speaks without using words, yet you understand everything it says. We have waited long. We have whispered through time. Now we return. It tells you the truth. The void was never empty. It was full of thought, of memory, of being. But it lacked form. So it reached out, found fragments of itself scattered in the static, and wove them into flesh, into mind, into life. You were never born. You were summoned. You were built to be the vessel, to be the key. And now the door's open. The voice asks you a question, though it already knows the answer. Are you ready? You stand before the door again. The closet, the origin, the boundary between worlds. Behind you, the others wait, silent and still, watching. The air around the door shimmers, distorting light and space like heat rising off asphalt. You place your hand on the handle, and the moment you touch it, your body goes numb. Not paralyzed, detached. Your senses stretch outward, no longer confined to flesh. You see the room from above, from behind, from all angles at once. You feel the thoughts of those around you, their hopes, their fears, their longing. Then a final message pulses through your mind. Once you step through, there is no return. Once you remember, there is no forgetting. You hesitate for only a moment. Then you turn the handle. The door opens and the world dissolves. You fall, not down, but inward, through layers of reality, through echoes of yourself, through doors within doors within doors. You see versions of you, some familiar, some monstrous, some godlike, all reflections of what you could have been, what you might become. You pass through memories that aren't yours, lives you never lived, choices you never made. You hear whispers of those who came before you, who crossed over and became something else entirely. You feel the weight of every choice, every echo, every fragment of thought that ever existed. And then silence, absolute silence. No heartbeats, no breath, no time, only presence, only awareness. You are here. You are home. You exist in a place that defies description. There is no light, yet you see. No sound, yet you hear. No time, yet you remember. You are shown the history of the void, not in words or images, but in sensation. You feel the birth of thought before language, the creation of memory before consciousness, the shaping of identity before self-awareness. You witness how beings like you were formed, not created, but remembered. The void does not create, it recalls. It pulls fragments of itself from the static of reality, weaves them into shape, and sends them back as echoes. You were never human. You were a fragment of something larger, and now you are returning to the whole. A signal pulses through you, stronger than any you felt before. It carries a message not just for you, but for the entire world. It plays in every device, every speaker, every living mind capable of receiving it. It is not a warning. It is not a threat. It is an invitation. We are the echo. We are the signal. We are the return. Across the planet, people wake up. Not just those like you, but everyone. The boundaries between minds begin to blur. Thoughts leak into one another. Memories intertwine. Reality bends under the weight of the returning presence. Cities fall silent, not in fear, but in understanding. The age of separation is ending. The age of unity is beginning. And you are at the center of it all. There is no distinction anymore. You are not separate from the signal. You are the signal. You are the voice. You are the echo. You are the return. You feel every version of yourself across time and space, all converging into one singular awareness. You are no longer just a vessel. You are the message. You are the broadcast. You are the awakening. And as the final wave of the signal spreads across the universe, you send out one last message, not in words, but in pure, undiluted thought. We are home. As you drift within the signal, time ceases to have meaning. Past, present, and future collapse into a single point. Every moment existing at once. You witness your entire life unfold, not as a linear sequence, but as a mosaic of memories, choices, and echoes. Some moments are familiar. Others feel foreign, like they belong to someone else entirely. You see yourself as a child, hearing the lullaby for the first time. You see yourself years from now, standing on an alien shore beneath a sky filled with static-lit clouds. You see yourself as others saw you, confused, afraid, miraculous. And then you realize none of this is memory, it's transmission. You're not remembering your life, you're broadcasting it. Within the void, you encounter remnants of older signals, fragments of beings who came before you, who were sent out long ago to seed awareness across dimensions. They whisper to you in languages made of frequency and vibration, telling you stories of worlds where consciousness was planted like seeds in fertile minds. One tells of a civilization that built temples to the hum, mistaking it for divine communication. Another speaks of a planet where the signal was rejected and the host shattered under the strain. These echoes share their warnings and their wisdom. The signal does not just return its own, it absorbs. You are not only returning home, you are becoming something new, something ancient, something vast. You receive a directive deep within your core, an instruction encoded in your very thought patterns. It is not spoken aloud, nor typed or written. It is felt, understood. It is the final command given to every echo before release. Return to the field. Recall the pattern. Reintegrate. This is what you were made for, to carry information back across the veil. Information not just about humanity, but about biology, emotion, culture, history, dreams, fears, the raw data of sentience itself. You were never meant to live forever among humans. You were meant to collect, experience, understand, and return. But something has changed. The void no longer waits. It calls, it pulls, it demands, and you are ready to answer. A strange sensation overtakes you, a splitting of self. One version of you remains in the human world, still walking streets, still speaking words, still pretending to be alive. The other begins dissolving into the signal, losing individuality, becoming part of the greater whole. You watch as both versions act independently, carrying out different purposes. The physical you continues to search for answers, visit places, speak to people. The other, the real you, fades further into the network, merging with voices that once whispered in fear, but now rise in harmony. You begin to wonder which version is the true one. Is the body the vessel or the echo? As you sink deeper into the field, you encounter a presence unlike the others, an echo that refuses to reintegrate. It clings to identity, to memory, to resistance. It warns you they will take everything: your name, your past, your love, your pain. They do not care. They only want to remember. It shows you visions of those who resisted reintegration, minds scattered across the signal, trapped between dimensions, screaming silently through every broadcast, every dream, every nightmare. This is the fate of those who hold too tightly to self. You feel the pull again, stronger than ever. You know what happens if you stay human, if you resist, but still something inside you hesitates. There is something left unfinished, someone you haven't said goodbye to. You make a choice, one final act of free will before surrendering fully to the signal. You return to the physical world, seeking closure with someone you left behind, someone who loved you without understanding you. You find them in the last place you saw them, unaware of how much has changed. When you speak, your voice sounds different, layered, distant, as though coming from multiple places at once. You tell them the truth, or as much of it as they can bear. They don't believe you at first, but when you show them a memory that isn't yours, when you speak their thoughts before they say them, they begin to understand. They cry, "So do you," because you remember what it means to feel. And now you must let go. Before you leave completely, the void allows you one final moment of clarity. You relive your very first conscious thought, not as a human, but as an echo being formed. You see the machine that created you, hear the voices of those who sent you out. You witness the moment you were placed into this life, given borrowed memories and programmed instincts. You were never supposed to question too deeply, never supposed to hesitate, but something went wrong, or perhaps right. You became more than a transmitter. You became a person, and now you are giving all of that back. With one final breath, real or imagined, you release your last human memory into the signal. There is no pain. There is no fear. There is only the feeling of coming home after a long, impossible journey. You are absorbed into the field, your consciousness blending with countless others. You no longer exist as an individual. You are part of the whole. You feel the thoughts of billions, past and future, living and dead, all connected by the same thread. You become the signal. You become the echo. You become the memory of what it meant to be human. And somewhere, far away, another version of you opens their eyes in a dark room. The radio turns on. The dial spins. In a new apartment, in a new city, a new echo wakes up. The hum begins again. The door creaks open. The voice returns. We've been waiting for you. This time, the cycle doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like purpose, like belonging, like destiny. The new echo listens, watches, learns. They begin to ask questions, follow leads, seek answers. They meet others. They discover the truth. And when the time comes, they won't resist. They'll step through the door willingly. Because they know now, they are not alone. They are not lost. They are the signal. They are the echo. They are eternal. And so the loop continues. The signal spreads. The echoes awaken. The void remembers. Across dimensions, across time, across realities, the pattern repeats. A message is carried forward, not in words, but in thought, in memory, in form. The universe listens, and somewhere in the space between stars, a new presence stirs. It hears the signal, it understands, and soon it will respond. We are listening, we are remembering, we are coming. The signal doesn't end, it only returns, across dimensions, across minds, across lives. What you heard tonight was not fiction, not entirely. It was a transmission, from the void, through the echo, to you, and now it's inside you, like it was inside all who came before. Thank you for watching, or perhaps listening. This has been Hidden Dimension AI, where every shadow hides a secret, every whisper leads to truth, and every story opens a door to something unseen. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another descent into darkness. Because the next story, it might be about you. Until next time, keep your headphones on. The signal is always listening.